Gerbils are not as well known as hamsters, so when it comes to finding gerbil information, it can be really tricky. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all the different reasons why you should not get a gerbil. I'm Scissors, and on my YouTube channel, I talk all things gerbil. If you're thinking about getting a gerbil, here is a list of reasons why you should maybe reconsider your choice. And hey, don't get me wrong, I love my gerbils, I have 3, but since they've actually declanned, I thought this was the perfect moment to talk about why not to get a gerbil if you're not willing to deal with everything that comes with these cute little creatures. First and foremost, before you ever get any animal, you want to make sure you're doing lots of research to make sure you know how to properly care for this animal. And if you are thinking about getting gerbils, even by the end of this video, you can go check out my other video on basic gerbil care, where I talk about everything you need to know before getting a gerbil. But firstly, why should you not get a gerbil? Well, there are multiple reasons, but I think that one of the biggest reason is that you are going to have to spend a lot of time with them. Most people think that because they're small and can literally fit in the palm of your hand, that they're easy little creatures to take care for. But this is simply just not true. These little guys can rack up a cost, time, and energy. Not only that, but you actually need to get 2 of them, meaning that double the space. Now, space is actually really important. And if you're not willing to buy a at least 40-gallon tank for your 2 gerbils, because yes, gerbils do have to come in pairs, then gerbils are just not the right pet for you. And I get that not everyone has space to supply a 40-gallon fish tank or reptile tank for your gerbil, but if you're not going to supply them with the right housing setup, then just simply shouldn't be owning one. This kind of ties in with the cost of owning a gerbil. Gerbils are so expensive, it's actually insane. Like when I got my gerbils, I did not expect them to cost so much money. Bedding is super expensive, considering how much bedding they need and how much you're going to need to buy. And then also you need to supply them with enrichment and food, toys, chew toys, and a whole bunch of other stuff. A wheel can cost easily $45. And single-use products like chew toys, which they should be given a lot of, can also add to this cost. Now also, vet money is really expensive considering how small they are, but it is important that you have healthcare available to your gerbil. They also need a bunch of different substrates, including at least 2 types of bedding, food, toys, cage accessories, hay, and the cage itself is not cheap. Another big part of owning gerbils is knowing that they are not just a fish that you can just leave in their tank. They require attention and they require affection. In other words, they are hands-on pets, so you will be needing to play with them at least a little bit, but if you have a big enough cage, this might not be as necessary. If you want to have healthy gerbils, then there are a lot of things that you need to do. For example, sometimes making a salad for them, because it helps balance out their diet. It also gives them some water content, and it's just good in general for them to have some leafy greens. Spot cleaning every day, this is a must. And cleaning their cage every 1 to 2 months depending on the size. Now, if you're expecting the gerbil pairing process to be an easy, just straightforward thing, like step by step that you need to follow in order for your gerbils to live long and happy, you're in for a surprise when you get your first gerbils. Gerbils are not easy pets, and they will cause a ton of frustration. Not only if they declan, like my 3 boys did, but also setting up the cage when they start to chew literally everything, and you have to spend more money to get them more stuff that they're just gonna chew, but also when they don't love you immediately. Gerbils take time to warm up to their owners, and so if you're expecting a cuddly little pet that will just snuggle right up to you, you are looking at the wrong animal. Another really big and real possibility that might happen to you when you own gerbils is that they can declan. Now, it is more common for groups of 3 or more gerbils to declan, but it can still happen in groups of 2, especially if you're looking into getting female gerbils. They are more likely to declan than males. I don't know what it is about these little guys, but for some reason, they have a hard time getting along. And if they do end up declanning, this is a long and painful process of bonding them back together because it is just not good to have a single gerbil on its own. I'm an exception because for me, my third gerbil just can't get along with any other gerbil. But if you do have a single gerbil, you have to give that one even more attention considering that it doesn't have any friends. And then also, because you're getting at least 2 gerbils, if one dies and you have one on its own, you have to find one a similar age category and with a completely different personality. And depending on where you live, it might be really hard to find a gerbil that fits these requirements. But for me, owning gerbils has been such a fun experience. I just love these little guys. They are so freaking cute. And all the pros of owning gerbils outweigh the cons. Of course, gerbils are easier than owning like a cat or a dog, but they still require a lot. Now, if you are looking for a pet that might cause you a little less stress, I would recommend a hamster, as though I personally don't know a whole lot about them. I know that they will be at least a little bit easier to care for considering that they are solo animals. But if you're looking for a pet that just is very social, is awake in the day, they're not nocturnal, and a pet that is a little bit more energetic and will be a lot more active, then I definitely recommend gerbils. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any video recommendations, make sure to comment them below. See you in the next video!